Wildblood camp, by the way. Our intention has been to move these over to Silent Plains. There's 3 locations in here for now that I want to target. Yeah, these are going to be in that range. High 20s, low 30s. We might even shift them up into just like low to mid 30s. We're not completely removing deicide shifters. No, I moved the ones that were around this spot just to make room for a Wildblood, one of the Wildblood camps, but I've just moved them. I haven't gotten rid of them. And there will still be thorns that have those around them. Yeah. By the way, I did this morning change up the Mad Run hatchery. So now all the spiders in the hatchery are going to be the same type and level as the spiders in the main cave. And then I also brought down the level of the bosses, the Lycandrel bosses, the Brood Watcher, down to level 23. So they're now sitting kind of right at the top of that level range. One of the things that I want to experiment with, and one of the things I've already tweaked this to experiment with it, is actually in Mad Run, because when I was working in there earlier, fixing those levels, I took the placeholder for Nidar, the placeholder for Lydra, and the placeholder was just a lurking outcast, or an outcast lurker, and I called it a wounded outcast lurker. A wounded outcast lurker. And the idea there would just be that, like, it's still a placeholder system, but as you're moving through, you're able to see these NPCs that are named differently. And I did the same thing with the Brood Watcher. But instead of being a Mad Harvester, which you're going to see Mad Harvesters all throughout that hatchery area, the Brood Watcher placeholder is called a Brooding Harvester. It was looking good. I've got a little bit more work to do on it, but I'm pretty pleased. No, I don't think Monk Feign Death is where I would say that I want it right now. It should be, well, no, it is not where I would want it right now. It's not giving you enough dependability quickly enough. Like, by the time you get up to level 20 on a monk, I feel like you should be able to pretty heavily rely on your Feign Death being consistent. I'm okay. I'm pretty okay with, like, that gap from level 10 to 20 being a little bit touch and go. But by the time you get to level 20, a lot of people in Discord have been speaking of wanting wipes, especially with the dupe situations. I'm on the fence for this, as I think a wipe could be good, but I also think it might do some damage. Though I thought, why not do a wipe when Druid, or perhaps a larger content drop comes out? Thoughts? I just don't think we're ready to even, like, even considering a wipe as something other than a necessary event. I don't think we're even close to being able to consider that at this point. And I don't know that we ever will. I mean, I think the goal for me is still to avoid wiping until we get to 1.0. That's still the goal. Let me try this again for the 3rd time. Are colorful armors... Yes. Yes, they are. We will start the stream with it tomorrow. But yes, the answer is yes. And it's going to be a very good thing. I don't think the Ushruk should be able to leave that room. Like, I don't think you should be able to pull the Ushruk out of the room. it's meant to be a very like kind of thematic fight. It's a great example of where, because you have, you know, the blizzard spawning and the increased like climate that he does, or that she does actually. The Uzruk is actually female. We don't have our female orc model yet, but it's a matriarchal society. The Heart of the White Wyvern. Yes, it does work. I'm not going to tell you what it does on stream, but I just fixed it where you should see the buff like you're meant to when it's active, and the buff description should be adequate to let you know what it does. That'll come in with the next patch. Let me answer this one first. Not sure if this answered during ad break. Hi, Joppa. The spell costs seem extreme for the money drops in the game. I don't understand why Hangor mobs have similar coin drops to Ghost and HC, and why Mad Moor mobs are dropping copper. I understand Mad Moor is not itemized yet, but regardless, the money drops are not there in the 30 plus content to support the 30 plus spell scroll cost. Can this be addressed soon, please? Okay. Yes. Yes, it can. Yes, it will be. The first thing I'll say about that is, sorry, I just read that. Yeah, the new buff description will in fact be, and clearly you will know exactly what that means. I did add itemization to quite a few of the NPCs in Silent Plains. What maybe you guys can confirm with, you know, kind of the patch craziness that we've had recently, whether or not that's made it to live yet. There should be more things dropping from the NPCs in Silent Plains. That's step one. The next step will be having things like the Wild Bloods come in, which we're working on now, which will be, you know, a humanoid NPC situation, if you will, where they'll be dropping more coin and, you know, probably some more valuable things that you can sell. But, you know, it's just one of those things. It's one of those things where we're trying to fix a problem that resulted from an overabundance of coin dropping in certain places. When we launched EA, one of the things that, just in full transparency, one of the things that we didn't get to dial in to the degree that we wanted to was coin drops across the level range for the available content. And Hounder Cave and some other places had just a very high amount of coin dropping, which, because we wanted there to be, at this stage, at least some things that functioned like carrots to actually need and require money to save up for and buy, the spell scrolls got jacked up like crazy. That is not the way that it is intended to be. Not the way it's intended to be. And it's something that we will absolutely need to address, and then, you know, need to make a lot of retroactive changes to different coin amounts and things, bring it all into a good spot. But yeah, like right now you've got places like Hounder Cave and others where the coin amounts are just super high, and it makes everything else seem crappy by comparison, whereas everything else is kind of much more in line with what it's intended to be, or at least closer. So I do think at this stage of the game, I think the best thing for us to do in the shorter term is just to nerf the coin drops in some of those places to bring them, you know, more down to size, and then in the same breath bump the 30 plus stuff up a good bit, so that there's more incentive to actually move into and live in the 30 plus content once you're there than there is to go back, you know, to the older stuff. So I feel like that's a change that would be easier for us to make in the short term, for sure. be somewhat prepared. We may need to take a few things away from the shaman, potentially, to redistribute a little bit. Because, I mean, right now, the shaman's pretty stacked. The shaman is pretty stacked. And there's a few things that I feel like we could take and repurpose on the support front that currently are on the shaman that the cleric might be able to benefit from, just to kind of spread a little bit of that support love. I've always loved the necromancer.